course, video will play after an ad.
I should turn this air conditioning off. It's going to freeze me. There we go. All right. Let's make sure the sound's working. So if you can hear us, if you could let. Oh, it's going to keep winding, isn't it? Let me try something.
Just turning the AC off so you can hear us. So hear you fine, sounds good.
Oh, good. Okay.
Steve Martin, John Candy. That was from Scott.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Well, maybe I won't be wearing this shirt then. Anyway, well, hi, welcome from, where are we? There we go.
Minnesota.
We are in, here, can you see me? Yeah.
How we doing?
Here, I'll turn them, yeah. So we're in Minnesota. We're actually near Bloomington, Minnesota, and we're hoping to come from the parking lot at the Busboys garage, which is Stan Holter and old busman Phil and a variety of those guys. And we have decided to run up here for a couple of days for a couple of reasons. Probably the biggest reason is that it's like 107 in Texas right now. And the other big reason is that the radiator on the bus, my bus, had to come out and be repaired. And so as a result of that, we were stuck in Wichita Falls, Texas for a few days. And the radiator shop said that the radiator was in such bad shape that they needed more time to keep working on it. So we're here in Minneapolis. We drove about 12 hours on Friday into Saturday and got up here. It's much cooler. It's probably 70 degrees right now. There's a little light rain outside, so we couldn't go live from the Busboys garage. We kind of wanted to, but didn't work out. But we've got some exciting news. I'll let Jason kind of talk about one of the reasons, or really the big reason why we ran up here. And why don't you mention what's going on?
Yeah, so as a lot of you know, I've been looking for a bus for a long time. I've been out to see quite a few. If you watch our What's It Worth thread, you'll know how many we've collectively looked at, and I've been all around the country looking at them, and I finally managed to get my hands on the right bus for me. Came across this one through the Busboys and made a deal to buy it. So it's a really nice bus. It's got a lot of original stuff in it. All the original stuff I was looking for. It's a fairly straight bus. It runs. It doesn't drive yet. We're still tinkering with it. Be another day or so before we can actually probably move it around the lot and get to that point. Fixing some coolant leaks. If you watched Old Man Phil's video, he actually got the bus fired up last week sometime, and you can see it was leaking coolant, so I had to replace all those rubber couplers and change the way that the coolant system was hooked up. So we started doing that today. I got part way through it, and we got to go into a parts store tomorrow. Nothing was open today to get what we needed to complete that job. So tomorrow we should have it running, and we can run it inside the garage, and we'll get it jacked up, pull the wheels, and start checking brakes and hubs and everything else. This bus has been sitting since 2006, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got a 4-valve head on it. I think Phil said it had N70s, but I can't remember. It might be N65s. He wasn't sure. But it starts great, runs great. It's smoking a little bit, just like a bus would that sat for 15 years. I figure that'll probably clear up as soon as we get a chance to drag it out on the road. We're not going to drive it this week. We'll just move it around the yard and bring it in, do some more work on it. Busboys have been great. Stan's been really helpful, helped me get this bus and access to some stuff to do work on it, which is amazing. It's better than working out in a field in Texas, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, 70. It's 70 degrees, not 103.
Yeah.
So why don't you kind of walk through some of the cool features of it? Because I got to tell you, I've seen a lot of buses, and I mean it needs some paint for the surfaces that were originally painted, but it doesn't need much more. I mean, mechanically, there's some maintenance to it, brake and adjustments and bearing grease and that kind of stuff. But that's standard. But the vehicle itself is amazing. Talk a little bit about that inside too.
Yeah, the inside is fairly original. The driver's area, cockpit area is all original, 100%. It's got the step works. It's got the modesty panel. You walk up. It's still got all the original gauges for the most part. I think they're working except the oil pressure. It's got some extra gauges added at some point, which I'd like to get all the original gauges working and get rid of the add-ons. It's got the grab rail that goes around behind the driver, and I haven't tried to pull it up yet, but it's got the screen that rolls up behind the driver and hooks up into the luggage panel. So I think we'll try and open that tomorrow and see
And
if it's
he's
still
got
functional.
he's got luggage racks that go all the way to the back from the front, with the exception of where the bathroom is.
Yeah. So all the way down the right side of the bus is it's got all the luggage racks. The left side where the washroom and kitchen is, it's been cut into on the left side, and my plan is to keep most of those, certainly over the seating area where we're gonna sit. I think it's great. It's too original to start taking that stuff apart. There's a couple bays missing on the one side, which is fine because I'd need to put in a bathroom anyway in the bus, which it already has a bathroom, shower. I'll probably redo it and upgrade it from what's there, but what's there, we haven't tested any of the water functions, but it's all plumbed in and it should work once we get power to it. Biggest issue with the bus has been all the wiring. The switches, everything's just corroded from sitting over time, cleaning up everything, getting it working. Phil's been a great help today. Phil was working with me all day today on the bus, going through all the start-stop stuff, getting all the contacts working. Simple stuff like even the relay in the back panel had stuck on just because there was a little bit of corrosion in there, and Phil in his little wizardry, he popped it open. I don't even know what he did, but within a couple minutes it was functioning again quite normally. So he's been through the generator circuit and checked all that already, I guess. Yeah, no, he's a great resource, and he's been very helpful to me today.
So we're here for a few days. He's Jason. I mean, he's making really handy work of working out the bugs, and then we're gonna probably head. I want to check, just see.
I didn't see any.
Yeah, the chat thing kind of froze. We don't have great internet here. We're running off of a jetpack, and so it's not perfect. So if you do have questions, put them in caps, and we'll answer them. That's kind of the way we do things. And so Monday, tomorrow, or Tuesday, we're gonna hopefully get a phone call from the radiator shop and from the mechanics who are kind of helping us down in Texas, and they'll let us know that the radiator has been repaired. There are a few parts. The top neck on the radiator on my bus actually was falling apart. It was dissolving, and Stan at Busboys has that particular part, a couple spares, and so I'm going to take one with me, and we'll probably just put a new one on it.
Yeah.
Radiator itself had a couple of rods that needed repairing, some patching, and so I think the last time we did live, we were kind of toasting because we got the engine to start.
Yeah, we just got it running, and we were sitting in Texas.
So let me kind of walk through what happened since then. So that was last Sunday. It was about exactly a week from right now. We ended up spending Monday. We were supposed to get up and kind of get going. We spent most of Monday working out some bugs with the brakes and the turn signals and the headlights and all that stuff. And so we got the electrical running. We did the rest of the greasing. We adjusted the brakes. We checked everything, and then we took off about 4:30 in the afternoon, 97 degrees outside. We made it about 25 miles, and the bus started to get a little too hot, so we pulled over. We ended up cooking dinner while the engine cooled off. Did another run, after an hour, and it seemed to do pretty well, but we started getting dark, and so we ended up making it like 35, 40 miles the first day. and we stayed in this weird town in Texas in basically some shipping containers that they had turned into like
Cabins.
hotel cabins. A
Yeah.
weird thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
It was a bed and all that, and then we kept going. Made it a little while longer, and we stopped for gas, and we couldn't start it. The starter, when it gets hot, the starter is not working. So we ran into that problem. We managed to figure out how to jump it and get it running again. Cruised down the road for a while, and then it started heating up again. We ended up having to stop 20 minutes outside of Wichita Falls. Ran into town, got a couple of things supplies that we knew we were going to need, and I think we ended up having lunch just because we wanted the bus to cool down. Got back, I called a mobile mechanic. So when Jason started it up and we started heading towards Wichita Falls, he gunned it, and all this fluid started gushing out of the bottom, and it sort of looked like it was coming out of the slobber tube, which comes out of the blower, and that's like a really bad sign. That was the problem we were having before, which we thought we had fixed with a blower replacement. And so I'm devastated. I'm freaking out, and he just keeps driving. It turns out it's radiator fluid that's flying out of the top of the radiator.
I couldn't see it. I had no idea it was coming out.
It was spraying all over the engine that coated my whole car. I was following him in my Eurovan, so it got completely coated. But we limped it into Wichita Falls. We found a space that we could work it on. Opened it up, realized that it was the radiator. We thought it was a hose, and it turns out the radiator kind of crapped out.
Yeah.
And so then we spent a couple days. We got the radiator out right away, got it to a radiator shop, and spent a couple days doing some other stuff. We power washed it and things like that. And we'll got some video that we'll show. Actually, I've got the blower video is about ready to be posted. I thought it should have been up already today, but
Yeah, a couple questions.
Sure.
Yeah, people are asking about the bus I bought, what serial number
there
it
you go.
is. It's serial number 834. It's a 48, 3751. It's not the one that Stan had advertised, because I see a few people are asking about that. It's not the one that was advertised. It was one that Stan and I spoke about privately. That one is still for sale. That's a pre-war that he's got there, if anybody's interested in it. It's still available from what I understand.
Nice bus. I looked at that bus yesterday.
Yeah, it's fairly reasonable. I think it's a good deal for what it is if somebody wants to get a fixer-upper. But I'm not really willing to talk about what I paid for this bus, because I see that was a question too. But
I'd say he got a really good price for it. I mean, I knowing what the market is and knowing what condition this bus is, the price was dead on.
yeah, I think it was a fair price, so I can't complain. I think I'll be happy with it. Haven't driven it yet, but pretty sure I'll be happy with it. Got to get it going. We'll spend tomorrow and maybe part of Tuesday working on it. We're gonna get as much as we can done and figure out if we need to get any parts ordered. Got tires coming already for it. Gonna put 6 brand new tires on it. We'll pull all the hubs, re-grease the bearings just because it's been off the road for so long. Go through all that. Probably want to change a lot of the air lines, just preventative maintenance, just to do them while it's apart. Go through all the brakes, check all the brakes. I had a look underneath quickly, and it looked like there's lots of meat on the pads, so hopefully the drums are okay. We'll know that more when we get it apart. Yeah, the whole plan is today, tomorrow and the next day, we'll figure out if we need to order any more parts, get everything on order, and go down and finish the rescue on the other bus for part 4, and bring it back, hopefully uneventful, and then come back over and pick up my bus. Then I can finish the job and head home with it.
So somebody, it looks like is just joining us. We're actually in Minnesota, Minneapolis area, Bloomington, where the bus boys park many of their buses. We also met John today, which was kind of cool. John is the president or the curator of the Greyhound Museum up in Hibbard, Minnesota. He happened to stop by. Last night we went out with Taylor Burr, who owns a 3701, a bus that's about the age of my pre-war, and we drove around downtown in his bus making a loud noise,
It was an absolute riot.
We triple parked it with parking meters. You know, we had to find a spot where we could park 3, and so we went out to dinner with him, and we had a great time with him. It was great. So it's just been kind of I don't know, it's a great escape from the week we had down in Texas, and it's really nice to see Jason. I mean, he's been working really hard on trying to find a bus. So it was pretty cool to have him, finally find his bus. So anyway, so that's that's kind of what's happening right now. Get into a little bit of kind of what you were dealing with today. You talked about that radiator modification is kind of a thing that seems to happen a lot.
Yeah, any of these buses that still has there's these rubber donut connectors. So it's rubber flange with a center tube, like a corrugated flex tube, connecting the two flanges together. So there's 2 on the bottom and there's 2 on the top. And the problem is they're not available anymore. And even if they were changed 30 years ago, they're going to be rotten at this point. So you have to kind of re-engineer the way the cooling system connects. Scott Grease Monkey's shown this in some of his videos before. Kind of did a hybrid of what Scott's done in the past, where you end up cutting flanges off and using rubber connectors to join the 2 pipes together. I'll get some pictures of it. Don't think I took any video of it today. Maybe I'll take some video tomorrow. I'll definitely take some good pictures and show everybody when it's done what it looks like and what you need to do if you pick up an old Silversides that hasn't been modified yet. Any of the ones that are running and driving are probably all been modified.
And it'd be remiss to say that you spent the day with Phil.
Yeah, Phil's a great character to hang around with. Interesting.
So one of the questions was, is this the bus that Phil has been working on in his videos in the last week? So Old Busman Phil is another YouTube channel. Phil is, he's a senior citizen, let's put it that way. And he is a genius, and he has been working on this bus over the last week, getting it ready for us to show up. And so that's if you want to see more about this engine or Phil's kind of rantings, go to his website and take a look at the videos that he has, and you'll have a good idea of what this bus is.
Yeah, he did a first start video of it when he got it running, and pretty informative what he had to do to get it going. And so today was mostly cooling system and electrical work. Tomorrow, if all goes well, we'll get it inside and get it up in the air and get the tires off it and start inspecting more stuff, because if I need to order any brake parts, I'll have to try and source that stuff. And at a quick glance, I think it's going to be okay. My concern is if the drums are rusted and if I have to get them turned, or if I need like S-cam bushings or anything like that. I think I've already planned, I'm just going to go ahead and pull all the airlines and get them made. That's a pretty easy thing to do. You just take them down to your local hydraulic shop and they can make up hoses for you, drop them off and pick them up the next day. And if I can get them all off tomorrow, maybe some of the fuel lines that weren't looking so good either, we'll get all those done. But the engine bay in this bus is in amazing shape. If you look at Phil's video, or I'll post some pictures on the Grease Monkey forum, it's a really clean engine bay. It's a newer engine that's in it with 4-valve head and aluminum cover, and it's all painted up nice. It's really pretty in the engine bay. It's nice and clean. No major oil leaks anywhere. It was puking a little bit of oil at the slobber tubes today, which is expected after it sat for so long. I think it'll clear right up, and if it doesn't, I've got some other injectors that I can throw in it once I get it home, and that'll probably clear up any smoke issues if they don't resolve themselves.
So lots of compliments on the bus. Yeah. You gonna start doing videos?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start doing some videos, and I'll do a full follow me for my restoration kind of thing. We got to strip and paint the outside of the bus. It's partially been stripped already. It was painted like a burgundy color, almost matches his Texas bus. Actually, it's kind of funny. So some of the Greyhound colors are showing through where it's been partially stripped, so it's kind of like multicolor right now. But I'll take it right down and strip it and paint it back in the proper Greyhound colors, because that's what I'm after. And we're gonna redo a lot of the interior to the way we want it for our use as an RV. It's got kind of a little mini kitchen right now that's not really all that useful as a full RV, so we're gonna do some significant changes inside and put some nice flooring in it, and everything from the driver's area forward. We're just going to restore it to being original, and we're going to leave it original. We've got some original seats that are in it still for the first row, so we're going to leave that, just keep it stock looking. When you walk in and you walk up, it looks like a bus still, which is really what I'm after. The exterior I want to restore to proper Greyhound colors and get the dogs back on it.
So one of the cool things is he's got the original shades that you can put. I mean, I've never seen a bus with the interior like this one. Stan's got a fully seated coach parked right in front of it, a Silversides. So I've been taking a lot of pictures to get ideas on interior. I'm going to have to try to reproduce something. He's got all the original stuff. It's amazing, and it's really cool.
Yeah, the shades aren't in great shape, but they are there. I think what we'll do is we'll reuse the original channels, because it's got those stainless strips go down between each window. We're going to leave those in, and I think what I'll do is I'll design some kind of a roller blind that's hidden up under the luggage bays that rolls down into those original tracks to keep it original looking. So I think that's what we're going to plan.
So to answer some of the questions, people, if you've joined us already, we are in Minnesota, up by the Bus Boys. My bus is in Wichita Falls, Texas, and they're working on the radiator right now. And the radiator shop knows what they're doing, but they hot tanked it, they rotted it, but they needed a few more days to do some welding to the tanks on the top and bottom of the radiator. And so we didn't want to sit in Wichita Falls. This is a much cooler place. We knew that he had this bus that he was very likely, we really wanted to look at to buy. So it's 12 and a half hours away. I mean, we had the pretty long drive to get up here, but I'm glad we did it, because otherwise we'd be sitting in a hotel ready to kill ourselves in Wichita Falls, because it's not a very exciting place. There's so much cool stuff that we've done in the last 2 days here. I'm sure you're glad we did the trip too.
Oh yeah, it was worth the drive to come up here and get going on this bus. I mean, it's a day, 12 hours of driving each direction, but really, I think Tuesday is the earliest that rad's going to be ready. So that would have been a minimum of 4 days of sitting on our butt just waiting for it, and would have been a pretty impatient 4 days in the middle of nowhere. So I'm glad we came up. It was definitely worth doing.
So Tuesday we head back down to Texas. I hope we get the call, and we'll make our way back down. The only real problem that we've got a couple drips here and there that seem to be okay. The throttle is kind of sticky, and we're heading to the Bus Grease Monkey to Scott in a couple days after we get back to work on the throttle. There's just a couple of little things that he is, I'm not going to touch the governor on this thing. He knows his way around that, and that's where the throttle housing is on the governor. And so it's hopefully we get back. It fires right up. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's just a matter of getting it to have Scott give it a once over with us. But it's everything else is performing. We're adjusting the brakes every night, because there is rust and dirt and stuff on the wheels.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through the same thing.
He's gonna have to go through the same thing, where you drive it a while, then you crawl under and you adjust the brakes. You drive it a while, adjust the brakes, and then all that stuff kind of gets scraped off, and then the brakes work. He just did the brakes before we left, so my brakes are in good shape. What's the condition on yours? Do you know?
I haven't got them.
Yeah.
I just had a quick look from underneath, and you can see it. The fronts look like there's quite a bit of lining there, so I'm hoping they're in good shape, because the drums are pretty much impossible to get for these. As far as I know, there's no stock left anywhere to be found. You're stuck looking for used ones and getting them turned.
So, anyway, so we're not abandoning the Texas bus. We're just taking a break from it. The hurricane was another kind of a weird thing. If the bus had been ready when it was, we would have probably had to drive through the hurricane. So I'm glad that we're sort of we missed that, but it's it is what it is. There is no radiator shop in Snyder, Texas, where the bus was. Wichita Falls actually is a pretty good industrial town. They've got a lot of oil industry things, and they've got Air Force bases, so there's a lot of skill sets for these types of things. So I'm kind of glad where I was. Same thing in Minnesota. If you've been Minneapolis, I mean, anything he needs, somebody's got it in town. You don't have to order it and have it shipped.
I'm just going to the back of Stan's shop.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's got the largest vintage parts collection I mean, we were going through trailers of Silverside parts and stuff. I was dying. I did. That was exciting. I found my other bus has that trim piece that got all
The belt line.
mangled. It's called the belt line on the front of the bus, and it's all ripped up. I did find a trim belt today that I'm gonna buy from him. So it's neat because I'm getting some of the parts that I need to get my buses looking a little bit sharper than they are right now. You know, some original things, but he's sitting on a gold mine as far as that goes. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's really neat looking at some of the stuff he's got, and he's putting a few things up for sale. A lot of it's he's keeping for buses he's restoring himself. He's got to make sure he keeps the parts that he needs. Like he's got a wonderful, fabulous back bumper there. I'd love to have, but then I look over at his seated coach and it's all been welded back together, so it's clear he's gonna keep that one for himself. I'm pretty sure. So it's been interesting.
Somebody wrote Philsworth the uh, Randy goes, only so many card games you can play. So somebody said Phil's worth the price of admission alone.
Yeah.
Phil's great. I mean, anybody's not seen him. He's been in Scott's videos before. He has his own old bus man Phil on YouTube. He is very persnickety. We talked about our friend Rodney, who has the Silversides, who ripped out all of his wiring and started from scratch, which you know, I would like to do. And Phil thinks that that's a crime against vintage bustum to do it that way. That you just need to fix what you've got. But you know, he is very particular, but he knows his way through this. Like,
He's a purist too.
Yeah.
He wants to restore things to be original, which I have a lot of respect for.
and that's good because he's with this bus museum. I mean, they're putting buses back to original condition. I have some Volkswagens that I took the time to get all the right parts for that are fairly rare. I'm a little bit more realistic in this situation that it's going to be a camper. It's not going to ever be a coach, and so I'm going to try to get it as close to appearance as possible, but I'm really looking for functionality, which means the wiring could probably be from the Century, and that would make me happy. I'm sure you're the same way in terms of you want predictability with your wiring.
I want the bus to look original from the outside, but from the interior perspective, it needs to be functional for what I need as an RV to travel in and whatnot. So for me, it's going to be a compromise because I am a bit of a purist. I like stock restorations, but that's not the true intent of why I bought my bus. So I'm kind of looking at doing a hybrid, whereas a lot of guys want to do the full RV, and I'm trying to figure out how I can make everything work without cutting holes in the roof and putting ugly air conditioners on top, and like we'll do a basement AC, we'll do an inverter based system. This bus has all the original air conditioning cooling stuff. It's all still there, and I actually found a tag inside the bay that it was serviced and working in '99.
The air conditioner?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know, maybe there's a chance that it's still gonna function. We haven't even gone down that road. So
That would be kind of neat. It's it uses a Pony gas engine.
yeah, it's Continental, I think, 4-cylinder.
Yeah. But it runs on a pulley, right? The pulley turns the air conditioning unit.
I'll be honest, I haven't looked that closely at it.
I think there's a pulley, and the thing is, you could go get a motor, a small motor, and replace the gas engine with like a motor,
like a DC motor. Yeah, you could do that.
and then you
a big 12-volt DC motor to turn it. Yeah.
and then you could run it. Either way, well, we're let's see here. We're up at 7:23. We weren't going to be on very long today. If you got some questions, ask them. Otherwise, we just want to give an update. Videos, like I said, I've got another video that should have posted this morning, but I had a little technical issue with getting it uploaded. I've got, I think, 3 more made, so I'm hoping to get more of what's going on. The one that's going to be out tonight is the blower day. That with the last time we were live last Sunday was the day after that. We went like 12 hours, and so I the video is about an hour long, but it's pretty good. I cut out all the boring parts and left in all the, swearing and arguing and stuff like that. I guess we got progressively crabbier as the day went on.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, we were getting more and more, and then of course we wanted to fire it up, and there was problems, so we couldn't get it started on Saturday after we replaced the blower, and so it'll come out here shortly, and then we'll get caught up. Probably another one on Tuesday, another one on Thursday, another one next weekend, and with any luck, I'll be home by Labor Day. That would be great, and maybe we'll go hit a day at the beach. He's never been to Traverse Cedar. I'm going to show him around and stuff. We're still sort of in quasi quarantine, so I'm probably not going to be hanging out with a lot of my friends because, I don't think we've got COVID, but we've got to be really respectful of the fact that we've been traveling. And then we'll head back here pretty quickly to button up his bus and then start working, getting his bus back.
Yeah.
So let me see if we got any more questions. And let's see, we got people from Scotland. There's someone from Bloomington here right in town.
Cool. Yeah.
Somebody in our backyard. So yeah, we're at a hotel right on the freeway in some big corporate thing.
Yeah.
So I guess if there's not any questions, we're going to wrap up. But we just want to give you guys a quick update. We're still on this trip. I was planning on being home with my bus by now, but you just don't know what you're going to get.
Feels more like the halfway point now.
Yeah, well, I think we're over that, I hope. But I said that the first 200 miles, I don't even consider you breaking down. First 200 miles is like the test drive. And we've gone 180 miles with the bus and found, that the radiator wasn't working. But hopefully I'm sure we'll come up with another problem or two, but it's not going to be something that's significant. We've gone through the air system, we've gone through, all the systems, and this was the only one that, we couldn't, where it failed, we couldn't have known without pulling the radiator out, at the beginning and looking at everything. So hopefully that'll be that. And let's see here. Oh yeah, hopefully we'll remain friends.
It's been a good trip so far. It's been entertaining.
I think, I think that, I don't know, for the most part, we're just, we don't place too much pressure or expectations on things, and, just kind of take things as they come, and I think we're both pretty exhausted. He was playing with his bus all day. I took some time off this morning, just kind of get my bearings. He took a bunch of time off one day too, but we really haven't had like a full day off since we started. This Tuesday will be 14 days, so it's been 12 days that we've been doing this. So it's fun, but it's like if we get it done and we get our buses working and we get home, then it'll be worth everything, I'm sure. So, all right, guys. Well, was my core salvageable? Yeah, the core only had, on my radiator, the core only had a few of the rods bad, so they seal the rods up. So how a radiator works is there's these tubes, and you have two tanks on the top and the bottom, and the radiator fluid, when it's hot, comes in through the top, right? Or no, it goes to the bottom?
There's a thermostat at the top that regulates it.
Right.
Heat rises. I think it must pump it in the top and suck the coolant at the bottom. I actually don't. I haven't looked at the circuit on that.
Anyway, the fluid comes in either on the top or the bottom, and it goes through these rods, which have a fan blowing through them. And so there's probably like 300 rods, and I think we blocked off about 6 or 7 of them were bad. They just solder them shut, so it's not like they replace them, they just don't use them anymore, and there's still plenty of capacity. Oh, that's one other thing. We've been working on, so the original fans were made of aluminum, they're kind of fragile. And I have, if you go look at the Scott Bus Grease Monkey videos of us working on the radiator on my other bus, they're not tremendously safe because they can disintegrate and then take out your radiator. And as a matter of fact, in Stan's yard here, we saw examples of 3 or 4 Silversides radiators that had been completely
there's 2 of them where the
hammered.
You could see where the fan had gone through the core and damaged them, and they were just in a collection of parts he picked up at one point.
So the plan is we're working with American Cooling Systems. If you're a Silversides owner, There's a discussion on the Bus Grease Monkey and on the 3751 Facebook page. We're working with an engineer at American Cooling Systems to come up with a perfect replacement for this fan. There was another company that was making a fan that fit perfectly. They stopped making it, we found out, so we're now trying to identify a new vendor, and then you'll be able to get a fan for this thing, which I'll have to drain my radiator again and put the new fan on. If any luck, by tomorrow, if he happens to identify one they have on the shelf, I'll have him ship it so we can put it on this week. But Jason and I will both probably replace ours. I know Scott.
Yeah, mine's gonna need it. The fan, mine still has the original, and the fins are turned, but they're stuck. They don't move anymore. So I think they're fully turned, but they won't move. It's just a grenade waiting to happen one day. So it was a great design for when it was designed, but it's 70 years old, and a lot of them haven't been greased properly, and because there's 3 grease nipples on the hub the whole way around to keep all the fins working properly, and corrosion and time just doesn't.
So Scott and Patrick both say that it comes in the heated radiator fluid comes in the top, drops
that
to
makes
the
sense,
bottom.
because heat rises, so your cooler water is going to flow to the bottom and get sucked back out.
So Patrick asked what happened with blower exchange. So we didn't realize this. Actually, the guy who sent me the blower asked me a question if I had an old version blower or a new one, and I just assumed, because the old one was only around for a few years, that I had the newer style blower. I in fact didn't. And when you watch the video today, or whenever I'm going to have it live here in a while, you'll see that taking off the accessories from the old one and trying to just bolt them on the new one, it didn't exactly work. So we had to improvise, made some modifications so that everything worked, which again is, now I've got a modern blower instead of the older blower. And so the video kind of shows some of the problems we had getting 2 different versions of the same blower, just one's newer than the other one. And so you'll see that. So we're going to send the old blower back for a core with all the old parts, and with any luck he'll take it. He may reject it, but my blower on my other bus is actually the same as this, so I may just get this one rebuilt and use it on my other bus if it's rebuildable. So anyway, let me see if we're done here. What bus are we talking about? For the radiator, we're talking about my bus in Texas. Yeah. The blower we replaced on the Texas bus, and then we're talking about Jason just acquired a bus yesterday. He bought a bus. Actually, if you look at the cover photo of this, it's there. If you're on the Bus Grease Monkey forum, there's the matrimony thread that we just started.
I didn't call it that. Somebody renamed it.
Anyway, Jason is finally, after looking at lots of buses, made a commitment, and he's got a new bus as of yesterday, and so he's been working on it today, and so we're talking a little bit about that as well. I didn't buy a 3rd bus. My wife's not watching, but I didn't buy a 3rd bus. Jason bought one.
You can hide it, can't you?
Yeah, I think 2 is enough. All right. Well, I guess if that's it.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching.
I think we will sign off. But that's it. More videos to come. Like I said, I managed today when I took the time off to get some stuff edited up, so I'll drop some more videos. I'll show some of Jason's videos. The very first time he saw it, I kind of followed him and sort of had him. It was over his shoulder. Today, got some video of he and Phil arguing or talking very thoroughly about how to get things done. And so I'll show some of that, but for the most part, that will, Jason will start showing those videos on his YouTube channel too. So that'll happen as it goes along. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Scott says congratulations. And yeah,
Yeah, it feels good to finally get a bus.
Yeah, well, about time. He started looking for a bus before I did, and I've got 2, and he's got none. So, but you got a nice bus. You got like I said,
it was worth waiting for. I think sometimes it's worth waiting for the right one.
Well, he's a good example of someone who just keeps looking and doesn't pull the trigger till he finds exactly what he wanted. And it's a really nice bus. I'm really happy that he's got exactly what he wants. So, all right. Well, with that, yeah, Jason's channel. We'll post that up. In the threads that involve Jason's bus. We'll put it in the comments what his channel is. He doesn't have. I don't think you have.
No, I
much
should come
there.
up with a good name for it.
Yeah.
I'll probably name the bus and we'll call the channel whatever the name of the bus we come up with.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a name yet.
But we'll, as we start posting videos on my channel, I'll put a link to his and stuff like that. So, good night, guys, and let's see here. Oh, good. We already talked about this. Scott is now alluding that he's going to have a rally.
Perfect.
We already
We should have a Silversides rally.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We already were talking last night with the guys up here
Bailey.
that it has to be up fairly far north, somewhere Tennessee's good, but the busboy, the Silversides guys would come down. Taylor Burr wants to do it, and
We'll just make Patrick drive.
yeah, we'll just make Patrick drive up because he's crazy that way anyway. So. And Rodney will have his bus done in probably next week.
Oh, he'll beat me probably, that's for sure.
So, all right, guys, have a good night, and we'll just talk to you probably if we're still on the road next Sunday. We'll do this again next Sunday. I guess we probably will.
I think so.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
All right.
All right, good night.
Good night, guys.